Hi there, Tad Hargrave from Marketing for Hippies here in my living room. And today I want to talk about this idea of the bigger why in your business. I've written a number of blog posts about this. Simon Sinek wrote a fantastic book and another book called Find Your Why about it. So I'll put a link to that below. Really good book. And this idea was that people don't just buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Businesses that have a bigger why behind them that people can look at and see, oh, you're not just in it for your own selfish profit, you're in it for something bigger than yourself, tend to have more loyal customers, their own employees stick around longer, people are willing to spend more money, people are a lot more patient and flexible with you when you screw up. So there's a lot of business benefits to having a bigger why. And I just want to talk about some of the mechanics of how do we come to this why. So basically it's this really hinges on having a clear niche. I'm going to be talking to service providers right now, so if you make products, this isn't going to be as relevant, though I'll see if at the end I can show you the way. So if you are a service provider, here's how this works. Your ideal client is on island A, yeah? Or they've got some symptom or some problem they don't like. They want to be on island B where there's a result that they're craving. Your business is like a boat that could take them from one island to the other. But once we've got clear what this symptom is, then the question becomes, what are the deeper cultural causes of this? That's a question to ask yourself. And this isn't going to make a lot of sense unless you have this figured out. If you're helping everyone with everything, this is going to seem very abstract, but let me try to give some examples. If you're somebody who helps people with back pain, lower back pain, well, what are the deeper cultural causes of back pain? It's not that people come out of the womb and everybody inevitably gets back pain. No. So one of the things you may say is, oh, it's because we're so sedentary and we're working at these desk jobs. So you might invest maybe, or not invest, but you might find a local nonprofit that gets kids out and moving and playing in nature, for example, one of these outdoor wilderness schools, and you might donate to them a portion of your proceeds or host a fundraiser for them every year. So this is the mechanical way to think about it. It's not always going to be exactly like this, but you think, what is a nonprofit, a charity, or a project that I admire that I think is doing a good job of addressing the cultural causes? Let's say you help people with heart conditions, heart attacks and all this, and you say, you know what, I think one of the major things behind heart attacks is sugar. We've got too much sugar in our diet. And so you find a local nonprofit that is doing work getting people farming. So I think about in Canada, we've got the Young Agrarians, and they get young people into into farming, and in ways that are ideally organic and good for the soil and all that. Or you invest in a local permaculture nonprofit, something like this. You find a partner. Okay, what about if you're helping your relationship coach, and you may say, well, the reason so many relationships fall apart is because everything's gotten so privatized. We don't have this village mindedness anymore, and so the couple's just left to fend for themselves. Well, you might find a nonprofit like an eco village like Tamara in Portugal, and you say, I'm just going to send them some money because they're doing a model of what I think it should be, and they teach people how to do that. So I'm going to support them because that supports the whole world, even though my business doesn't directly benefit from it. What if you do stuff around restorative justice? Well, there's a few things. One is you might say, the reason there's so little restorative justice is because we have so few elders in the community who know how to hold these spaces. And so maybe you'll invest in some project that you think is doing a good job of protecting or fostering elderhood. Or protecting elders and the wisdom that elders have in the world, maybe in Indigenous communities. Or if it's restorative justice, you might just decide to give a portion of your proceeds to a local Indigenous nonprofit. Just here's a little bit of money as my act of restorative justice, yeah. Let's say you work with kids who are making bad decisions, getting in trouble with the law and all this. Well, you might say, the kids that don't have any of these good old stories, they just have YouTube and they need these old myths and old folk tales. So maybe you'd invest in, something like the Scottish Storytelling Centre or a storytelling nonprofit, the Canadian National Storytellers, something. So again, the question is, what's a nonprofit or charity or project that you think is doing a good job of addressing the root causes, the cultural causes of the symptom that you help people with? And then you come up with some sort of a partnership. And also, what about maybe there's a book that you wish all your clients would read? They all have this particular symptom, this island A symptom that they're aware of that would get their attention in a headline. Or you think, God, there's this book that just gives the much bigger picture of why this is all happening. You wish they'd read. Well, maybe that author has a Patreon. Maybe you could donate to that author, for example. And maybe you could start your own nonprofit. That's another possibility with this. And here's what's important to say. Initially, your clients are not interested in the larger cultural causes. They don't give a shit about the larger cultural causes at all. All they care about is their issue. But once you have their attention through the relevance of their issue, then they might be interested in learning some of the deeper causes. And then I want to share this. Now, this I got from a book called Marketing That Matters by Chip Conley. I read this, 10, 15 years ago. Great book. And this is just a useful way to think about it. So we've got this graph here, return on investment and advancement of mission. So ideally in a partnership, we're looking at something. Let me put this phone back down. Ideally, you're looking for something that is going to, if you're going to partner with a nonprofit like this, you're looking for something that's going to genuinely advance the mission of the nonprofit, but will also give you some return on investment. That's the ideal. So that would be this circle here. Yeah. What you don't want to do is something that gets you a return on investment, but does nothing to advance the mission of the nonprofit, because then you're just using a nonprofit in a cynical way as a way to get attention for you. And if you do something that doesn't get you anything and doesn't advance the mission of why bother? Now, personally, I think sometimes you do things that advance the mission, you don't get return on investment, but then it's not a marketing thing. But there are ways you could partner where it's win-win. You advance the mission on the nonprofit, but it helps get you a return on investment. So these are things to think about. And again, if you want more thought, Marketing That Matters. And Allison McKenzie also wrote a great book called Give to Profit. I just can't find my copy of it, otherwise I'd show you, but I'll put a link below. So those are 3 books you can look at if you're looking at delving deeper into this bigger why in your business. And if you have a product, by the way, to me, one of the ways to look at it would be, especially if you do handmade stuff, if you're a crafter, well, what are the larger cultural causes of the absence of the handmadeness of these things? What are the cultural causes that have led to so few people having these skills anymore? And you could invest in that kind of a nonprofit or start your own nonprofit. So again, why does this matter as an entrepreneur? Well, it gives you not better status, but better, a deeper stature in the community. And that's very powerful from a marketing standpoint. It gives you an immense amount of trust, makes people more willing to talk about you word of mouth. And so anyway, there's a lot of selfish benefits. I could go on and I think I've said it. But also, the world is a better place then. Here's part of the challenge with niching, and I talked about this in the ebook, The Niching Nest. If your whole goal, so a niche, especially for a service provider, a niche is based on what? On there being a particular issue, a symptom. Okay, but wait, the world's kind of unraveling right now, which means there will be more symptoms. Aha, great opportunity, right? Because there's more business opportunities to solve people's symptoms. But wait, so are we saying that the worse things get in the world and the more symptoms there are, the better it is for business? Yeah, right. So you see the trouble with this. There's almost an incentive to keep the unraveling going in the world, and a deeper fractionating of everything. Because of course, the cultural cause that is causing your symptom, the presence of that or the absence of that, is causing lots of other symptoms too. So I think as businesses, we have some obligation to think about, okay, what is the symptom that my business addresses, and how can I be fostering something, in a wider context? And this may, by the way, happen through your volunteering. You work a certain amount so you can volunteer. In Edmonton, I started a group called The Local Good, trying to get people to live more local and be more locally sustainable, which to me was connected, supporting local business with my Marketing for Hippies. So there's some ideas. If you do something like this, please post it below. I'd love to hear what you do. And if you like this video, click the subscribe button below, and then there's a little bell that comes up, you click that and you'll get notified whenever I post a new video. If you didn't like this video, just keep it to yourself. Nobody likes a whiner. I kid. But yeah, I really would love to hear your questions and examples about this, and check out the book links below, and I'll put some blog post links below as well, and hopefully that's helpful.